Hey, producer Mariana here. Before we get to today's episode, I have an urgent message for you. We're closing down enrollment for Darren's Business Masterclass this week. To miss out on this one-time event would be a shame. It will never be the same again. Darren is revealing his business super success strategies that you can't get anywhere else. So stop sitting around and waiting for the perfect moment. Step up your game like Darren talked about in the first episode of the Success Exposed series. Go to dhbusinessmasterclass.com today before it's too late. Welcome to Darren Daily On Demand, your most trusted resource to help you become better every day. Here's your success mentor, Darren Hardy.
Welcome back to this very special series titled Success Exposed, the 10 X Factors superachievers use to multiply their results and dominate their markets. I cannot tell you how many times I have been asked, after interviewing and profiling all those that I have presented on the Success TV networks that I ran or on the cover of Success magazine that I published, what are the key factors that separate those who have reached super success from everybody else? Well, drum roll, these are those 10 X factors. So far, we have covered relentless drive, supersized thinking, massive leverage, and maniacal focus. And number 5, they F-word a lot. I mean a lot. The F-word I'm talking about here, of course, is they fail a lot. Those who end up achieving a level of uber success are willing to fail fast, fail often, and still continue on. Let me have Sir Richard Branson give it to you straight.
Not to take failure too seriously. I mean, it's something that happens to something like 80% of all small business people fail. Either go into Chapter 11 or actually go bankrupt, and some people take that really badly, and they should realise that it's the important thing just to learn from it and come back and start again. And an awful lot of really big multi-millionaires and billionaires who've been through 2 or 3 bankrupt companies in their lives, and have learned from them and have come back the stronger. It's what limited companies were designed for by governments. It was to say to people, try things, and if you fail, it shouldn't affect you personally. People know the risk they're having in dealing with you, and don't be embarrassed about your failure as long as you've tried everything you can to avoid it. Don't take it too personally.
Now remember, Richard has a portfolio of failed companies. Here are just a few. Virgin Cola, Virgin Brides, Virgin Cars, Virgin Cosmetics, Virgin Vodka, and the list goes on and on. It's safe to say that Branson is no virgin when it comes to the F word. The Iron Man himself, Elon Musk, continues to have to watch his SpaceX rockets explode on the launch pad or fall from the sky. Elon's failures have been so great that it has brought him to the brink of bankruptcy several times during his superhero ascent. This is an interesting factor and one that you might find difficult to get your intellectual arms around. It seems that those who achieve a super success level, which is really the opposite of failure, would be failure adverse, but it is actually quite the opposite. I'm going to bring in the Birdman, Tony Hawk here, who has ridden the half pipe of entrepreneurial success both up and down, and then up again many times in order to survive at super success himself. Here's Tony.
See any sort of adversity or bumps in the road as a challenge, and to embrace it as a challenge, right, and figure out how to work around it. Because if things get rough and you're thinking of bailing out, that's probably the time when it's most crucial for you to figure it out, because then you're going to succeed later on and you're going to figure out how to go with the changes of whatever the industry is.
You see, in fact, many of these great super achievers, they thrive on failure. Since they are so obsessed with improvement, they know they can only experience growth through that failure. They want to continually find their boundaries and then go beyond them, to stretch further. That is how they expand their capabilities and how they find ways of breaking through. Success, in fact, is actually not that satisfying or exhilarating to them. It is the failure, thus the opportunity to tweak, iterate, improve, and therefore get to the next level, which is thrilling to them. Here's an excerpt from Michael Dell on this very fact.
In a business that's changing very quickly or one that you want to grow, you actually need to be explicit about accepting risk. We want to accept some experiments. just like every other venture, they're not all going to work. Throughout our 28-year history, when we have had failures, those have ultimately resulted in some of the greatest successes we've ever had. When you're in the zone of doing things that no one's ever done before, if you're only succeeding, you're not taking enough risk.
You see, to grow, you have to accept risk. You have to accept some experiments. If you're only succeeding, you're not taking enough risks. In episode 2, you heard Jeff Bezos talk about losing over $1 billion in failed projects. But ultimately, those were insignificant to the $1 trillion-plus company he's created by being daring enough to risk those experiments. Bezos explained himself by saying, quote, "When you are trying anything new, you're going to have failures because you need to experiment. Growth and progress are directly proportional to the number of experiments that you can run," end quote. You see, those who pursue super success don't see failure as final, but rather necessary experiments to learn, grow, and iterate progress all along the way to their level of excellence. You want to fail as quickly and as often as you can. Each time you stumble, study the data, recalibrate, and iterate your next move. Do this daily and you will see steady gains in your performance standards. One last superstar that I want to bring in here to cap this point off is Sara Blakely, who started from nothing, working at Disneyland and doing stand-up comedy, to now billionaire. You can say she effed her way to the top. She failed her way to the top. Let's have her tell her where this effed up philosophy came from.
When I grew up, my dad used to encourage my brother and me to fail. So I would come home from school and sit at the dinner table and my dad would say, "Kids, what did you fail at this week?" And if I didn't have something to tell him, he would be disappointed. So if we weren't failing enough in our home, it meant we weren't trying new things.
So now, how about you? How many experiments are you going to run each day? What new things are you trying? How often are you making your palms sweat because you're stepping outside your comfort zone and bumping up against fear? How often are you risking your ego, risking embarrassment, risking vulnerability, risking looking bad or feeling bad? How much failure are you pushing yourself towards every day? Obtaining success of any significance can be achieved through a perpetual gauntlet of failures. Do as Thomas Watson of IBM said, if you want to speed up your success, double your rate of failure. Start today. Jot down some ideas and how you can double your rate of failure. These are obviously experiments in your Darren Daily Journal. And please share this episode with those that you want to encourage to be bold, to be brave, and to not see failure as final, but as progress, as growth, as the journey towards greater and greater success. Please share this widely, and I thank you in advance.